All right, we're here with Jim Dapkus, head coach of the Lincoln baseball team. Coach, your team dropped 3 tough wins last weekend at Henderson State, which by all accounts seems to be a very good team this year. What did you learn about your team from that experience?
It was almost like the first weekend up in Oklahoma for us, man. We're struggling offensively. We're not scoring a lot of runs, and that is obviously putting more pressure on our pitching and our defense to really be, going as good as they possibly can. And if anything goes wrong in those two parts of the game, it's really limiting our chances to win because we're just not scoring right now.
It seemed like in the 3 games at Henderson State, you fell behind early, and then when you were in that early hole, it's always tough to climb back, especially if you're not getting the bats going. What's going to be the key in the future to try and get the offense going a little earlier, or maybe stop the other team earlier?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. Obviously, if we can get to the point where we can score some runs early, it takes pressure off the pitching, and also we need to do. I think the one run we did score down at Henderson, we immediately gave them 2 right back in the bottom of the first inning. So any chance of momentum was kind of killed for us. We feel like we've played 2 very good teams, 2 playoff caliber teams, and with Southeast Oklahoma, we saw a team that had a deep, good pitching staff and a couple of big bats, and then at Henderson we saw a team that was really speed-based. They did a very good job of stealing bases and taking advantage of all of our, a miscue here and there and moving guys around and scoring guys when they had opportunities. Ideally, the way we would like to play. So hopefully we're going to learn from the teams that we have played and get some things straightened out and get ready for the conference season, which now is just around the corner versus being 2 or 3 weeks away. It's definitely getting closer and on the radar here.
Well, and then your next contest is going to be a little quicker than you expected. You've got Maryville on Saturday now. As you get ready for that game, what's going to be the biggest thing you're going to be focusing on?
Once again, just trying to get the team confidence level up a little bit and trying to score more runs. I know we looked at Maryville stuff and they kind of did a similar thing. They went down to Arkansas on the weekend that we didn't play and played against I'm drawing a blank on who they played, but they got off to a little bit of a tough start, and their stats are kind of down a little bit like ours and all that. So it's going to be 2 teams that really are in need of a win and trying to get some confidence going. So it should be a good competitive game. The extended forecast didn't look good going into next week, Monday and Tuesday, and obviously this time of the year when you have some good days, and especially it being on a weekend where both teams weren't scheduled to play anyway, we just decided to go ahead and move the game to Saturday, and hopefully the weather turns out good and we get some good baseball on and we can get going a little bit with the confidence level and get the bats going.
Well, obviously the scores were lopsided, but when you look at your team and you look at your individual players, did anybody stand out last weekend?
Not really anybody individually. We had guys getting better at bats, and it doesn't show in their stats, but we hit a lot more line drives. Henderson State had a very good outfield that ran down a lot of balls and all that, so it's tough when you're dealing with the kids because the kids aren't seeing the results, but yet they are doing a good job at the plate. I mean, when you hit a line drive right up the middle and it's right at the center fielder, that kid is frustrated, but at the same time he had a pretty good at bat and all that. And what we keep telling the kids is, at some point some of those balls are going to start falling, and it's just a matter of getting the thing rolling a little bit for us, and hopefully we can continue to get going. But like I said, man, we've played 2 good playoff caliber teams. We've learned a lot. We're still working on some of the things that we want to correct, and hopefully with Maryville we can start making some progress because once again, Pitt State being the first conference game is right around the corner for us.
So finally, you already touched on this a little bit, but you've seen some improvement from your team over the first couple weekends.
It doesn't show anywhere, but if you've watched us play offensively, the bats are getting a little bit better. We have got to stay away from kind of self-destructing a little bit. We have probably a little bit too many errors. Some of those are mental, some of those are physical, but once again, I think everything kind of ties into the fact when you are just not scoring any runs as an offense, it puts so much pressure on the other parts of the game, and we've got to be able to, baseball is a game to be played in as little as pressure as possible, and we're just playing with way too much pressure on ourselves right now, and we just need to come out of that, which could be a big inning or just a win, a big inning, just anything to kind of get us out of the little funk that we're getting in. And the nice thing about this week is the weather has returned a little bit. We're going to be able to be outside. We're going to be back on our field, which before Henderson, we had terrible weather up here and we couldn't do a lot on the field, and it kind of showed when we got to Henderson. So hopefully we are more ready to play this Saturday against Maryville.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Okay.